Hey guys, Michele Perry here with Design to Thrive Creative and WWhimsy.com. Welcome to tutorial number 2. In our first tutorial, we looked at how do you take your artwork or your stationery element and basically superimpose it on an image that already had a blank piece of stationery that was styled into the image itself. So we looked at that in tutorial number 1, and this tutorial, what we're going to do is how do you insert stationery or your artwork into an image that is just styled with beautiful empty space that is ready for us to put the things we create there to show them off and to turn this image into an actual mock-up. So there's a lot of little steps and nuances, and I'm going to show you how to do them one time in one area of the image, and then you'll use the same process to finish out your mock-up, and just for the sake of time with this video. So, but by the end of this, you're going to have what you need to know to go from this to that. Pretty exciting stuff. So what do you need for this particular tutorial? You need Adobe Photoshop. You need a gorgeous image from the stationery collection of your choice from SC Stockshop, but make sure you get one that is like an empty frame or an empty canvas like this, not one that has smart objects or stationery that is already styled into the image itself. So, and then you're going to need a piece of stationery or artwork that you want to add into the image. And then if you really want to add kind of some extra, just some extra fun stuff going on in your image, when I create wedding stationery for my brides, I always scan in their blank envelope like texture and color, because I love to be able to have that to play with when I'm creating digital mock-ups for their proofs, but also just to showcase kind of my other work when the colors match. It's just a great resource to have. And so if you have access to some pretty colored envelopes that maybe go with your stationery, scan them in, and you'll just have this extra layer that's just, it adds a lot of fun and it really makes it pop. So what we're going to do is, the first thing you're going to do obviously is you're going to scan in your artwork, clean it up. There's lots of really good tutorials on Skillshare and on YouTube about how to do that. And then you're going to also scan in and remove the background around your envelope so it's ready to insert. And then you're going to come over here, and basically in order to insert the artwork into this image, what you're going to do is you're going to hit Command A, which is like select all. So you'll get this little box that has got the little moving dashes, lets you know that your whole piece of artwork or stationery has been selected. Hit Command C, and that copies it. And then you're going to hit Command V over in the SC Stockshop image. And don't worry about a profile mismatch, just tell it okay. And so we got some things going on with this. Obviously, it's not the right size. So you're going to hit Command T, which is your transform. And then a little pro trick is to hold the Shift button down while you grab one of the corners and you resize it. And you kind of want to judge based on what your actual stationery size is, what size this image needs to be in proportion. Oh, I did not mean to do that. So if you accidentally change the orientation or the perspective on your image like I just did very creatively, you are going to hit Command Z to undo and it will all be good. So I'm going to I was trying to make that a little bit smaller. So that's kind of note card size, which is what this particular bit of stationery is. But if you will notice, it is really bright compared to the other light tones that are in this particular image. So it doesn't quite look like it's in the same lighting. And if you heard that, that was a train going by in the background. So the way that you fix the whole brightness thing that's going on here is you hit Command L, which opens up your level dialog box. You're going to come down to your output levels, and you are going to take the little white kind of marker right here, and you're going to drag it down probably to maybe about a 230, maybe a 225, 6, 7, somewhere in there, whatever feels right to you. So it looks like it's kind of in the same lighting as the rest of the objects in the picture. Might be a little bit darker than I want, so maybe brighten it up just a hair. That looks pretty good. You want to observe what direction the lighting is coming from. So we can see shadows are on this side of the objects pretty uniformly. So we know there's a light source somewhere up here, and there's shadows that are right here and right here. So there's probably another light source coming from this way. But it looks like it's predominantly for the elements that are in the top part of the picture. It's predominantly the shadows are being determined by this light source off to the side here. And so when you add your drop shadow, which is going to help ground it to the actual image beneath, you want to come in here and you're going to double click on the layer that you just created by pasting in that artwork or stationery, and you're going to hit drop shadow. And I already, because I've been playing with this image, I already have my drop shadow set up to be coming from, with the light is going to be coming from the top right corner, so the shadow is going to be on the left and a little bit on the bottom. So that's kind of how you judge where to put your drop shadows when you're adding artwork into a styled image like this. And you hit OK, and this is good, but I already have one that, let's see, let me find the right one. They are actually almost identical. You see, I did this a couple of times as I was practicing and kind of pulling over and seeing what would be the best way to explain things. And so it's okay. You can like play around with things. You don't have to, you don't have to get it right the first time. And it's okay. So that's basically how I'm going to come here and let's turn that off. That is how you create your drop shadow, and you've started the process of making it feel like it fits into the environment around it. Then the next thing that we're going to do is a fun little trick. And for the sake of time, I'm going to show you what I do, and then I'm going to show you the finished result, because it can take a little time because it's a detailed type of a thing. What you want to do is, do you see how this image is like floating on top of the ribbon and the scissors? That would probably not happen in real life, so it doesn't look very realistic. So what you want to do is select your background layer, which is the image behind here, and you want to grab just a section of that's right around that corner, and you're going to hit Command C, and then you're going to come up and select the layer that you imported your image on, and you're going to hit Command V so that it pastes above that layer. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come in with an eraser tool, and you're going to erase out all of this bit that is basically covering over unhelpful parts. So you want to completely erase out the gray background so that you're just left with the scissors and the ribbon. So basically, when it's done, and sometimes if you do this and you insert your artwork in a slightly different way, you're going to get this weird ghosting effect. And let me just show you quickly how to fix that. you just move your artwork. There it is. So, or you could erase it if you wanted to leave your artwork where it was. Either works. So that looks like it is pretty, that looks pretty amazing. Like you've inserted artwork and you've cleaned up the background of that kind of overlay of the object. But there's one other thing you can do to make it look even more amazing. And that is create an in-between layer, which I did. And basically, if you want to create a new layer, the easiest way to do is go up here to layer, select new, and then hit layer. Tell it okay, and you've got a transparent layer to be able to paint with. And we're going to paint some shadows. So you're going to select your paint tool, and you're going to want to make sure your color is kind of part of the shadow color that is right around here. So you might come in here with your color dropper and just like select right there, which is where I got this color. And then you come in and you'll see my opacity is set for like 5%, which means it's ever so faint. You just want a hint. And you just kind of come in here and go, okay. And you're adding just a little bit of, that might even be just a hair too much. So I'm going to hit my Command Z and undo that last little bit. And I'm going to come in under here and just create another hair, a little bit of a shadow. So it looks like it's actually sitting under those elements that are in the actual picture. But we've done the layering and the styling digitally, opposed to having it photographed on site with the image itself. So basically what you're going to do that exact same process for the envelope and for the other image. And when you're done, I'm going to just all of our practice work. I'm going to come back to my original. And I selected the envelope the same way that I did the artwork card. And just I put it under the cards because it created a little bit fun texture and a pop of color that just brought everything together. And then I created these overlays the same exact way that I did the scissors and the ribbon. Now, the one thing that I want to point out, especially with this kind of, right here, get my pointer back. This, I guess like it's a ring dish, a little ceramic dish. If I didn't add the shadow, it would still look sort of realistic, but if anyone was really paying attention to the details, you'll see there's a pretty pronounced shadow area right here and right here, and then it just is like no shadow right there. So it doesn't look like it's actually like tucked under it with the same light source. So the easy way to do that is to add a blank layer and then paint in some faint shadows. So that's what I did right there. And I also added a little shadow right in this area here. And it just helps it kind of come together, and so that it's got a perception of depth opposed to it just being flat. And there you go. You export this, you save it as a JPEG, you send it to your client, or you post it on social media, and you celebrate having an amazing mock-up of your gorgeous artwork. Thank you so much for spending time again, and I really hope that you enjoy using these images as much as I do. And don't forget to grab the PDF file that is attached associated with this tutorial so that you can kind of get the checklist and some of the steps written in case you want to refer to it instead of having to rewatch the video. So have a wonderful day, and thanks so much for joining us.